And we're back with some more Dyson Sphere program. And today we're going to finish off our 1000 sides per minute planet. The last day we did a whole bunch of furnaces, most of the furnaces, and a little bit of the low-end production, say green circuits, blue circuits, some motors, things like that. But today we want to get started on one of the more complicated ones, and that will be graphene. That's going to be an annoyance because it requires chemical plants and they are hugely bulky. At the same time, we are using the fire ice variant to make graphene because you can get loads of fire ice on gas giants that are out there. We will have to tap into those later. But for the time being, we have summoned in a bunch of warpers and our ships are out bringing us back a whole bunch of fire ice from gas giants. But in the meantime, this over here, it requires 2 fire ice and it will spit out 1 hydrogen and 2 graphene. And we have got them all spit out here. The graphene goes on the closest belt, the hydrogen goes on the furthest away belt. So 1 out, 2 in. The ones coming out go on this left side, and the ones going back in go on this right side, though I suppose it's all dependent on what direction you're looking at it from, just to keep up with our standard. And that all goes back in there, and we'll use the graphene and the hydrogen from there. That hydrogen is going to stay local, and we're going to turn that into deuterium. Anyway, let's have a quick expand out of this. Actually, before we expand it out, let's just have a quick look here. This is our 1000 signs per minute calculator, and down here we're looking at, where is it? Fire ice. So fire ice and graphene. We need 116 of these. So we're going to need 116 chemical plants to produce enough. But we only have 30 in a row. If you have 30 in a row, that's going to saturate 1 full belt of fire ice and 1 full belt of graphene. So 30 is the maximum we can go with on each row. I think we can squeeze that in, especially considering we won't have enough room to put down 30 of them in our current area. We've managed to squeeze 10 of them in here, just a row of 10, which is a good start. All we have to do is triple that up. Quick copy paste jobby here, and we can be moving on with our next task. It's amazing how quickly you can get things done when you actually have a plan and focus and you know what you're doing. And oh my god, did I miss one? I missed a belt down there, didn't I? Never mind, that's fine. We can fix that in post. Okay, let me start laying this out. This is going to be a rather long one. Chemical plants are just, well, kind of enormous and bulky and kind of hard to deal with. But I think we'll be fine. I'm pretty sure we've got lots of space down here. Yeah, we got loads of space. I think we'll be able to stretch this the whole way. At the same time, in the last episode, we had a problem with our motors over there. I moved them. They were in the wrong place, and I'm like, you know what? I can't live with it, so I moved them to somewhere better. There we go. 30 of them all in a row. That's 90 right there, plus another 30 over there is 120, which should meet our needs. Only downside is we can't bring back the fire ice fast enough. We're going to need to research improvements to logistic vessels so that we can bring back the stuff fast enough to actually feed this build. So this will run a little bit slow when we first start it up, but once a few logistics researches kicks in terms of research speed, where is it? Movement speed, logistics carrier engine. 50% to drone flight speed and 50% to logistics vessel navigate speed. That will help out an awful lot. Okay, with that done, what's up next? With graphene removed from the menu, that leaves us a few more options. But I was thinking of knocking out plastic. I want to get rid of some of the more annoying ones straight up. It'll make it simpler as we progress. So plastic is one of the annoying ones because it requires chemical plants, which are of course bulky and annoying. And at the same time, we're going to require refined oil. This stuff is an annoyance because that means we require a bunch of oil refineries. They're also rather bulky and annoying. At the same time, we need, 66 of them? This should be fine. We can put 60 in a whole row. If we put 60 in a row, it will eat 1 full belt of crude and spit out 1 full belt of refined. But we won't need that many. We only need, 66? Let's see how many we can squeeze in a row. We do have a little bit of a problem making this oil. The problem being, it's got 1 input and 2 outputs, so we can't really squeeze them in quite handily here, especially considering its width. And it's just the way these are designed. There's not really a lot of places to put, for example, yeah, we can do them in from the side like that, but that's going to make it much longer. Design choice wise, this is actually worse putting them lengthways. The reason being, we can actually squeeze 2 of them in this way. So even if we only do 2 rows with this many, well, okay, the pole is in the way, 1 second. So even if you only do 2 rows with them doubled up beside each other, or with them this direction, we'd actually have 4 in the same width. We can only fit 3 doing it this way. So I think we might be better off just doing it widthwise. Let me see if we can't squeeze a little bit more efficiency out of this. Here comes our oil right now. That's going to plop into this system. Done. Simply plop. No, actually we'll do the outside lane. It's just too dense in the middle. Comes down here, crude oil on the inside. Gets turned into light oil, or refined oil I believe it's called. I keep getting confused with Factorial's light oil. It's the same thing. It even looks the same colour. So the refined oil comes out, we get the hydrogen on the outside, all flows back in here, and that should be light oil sorted. Next up, I think we'll be doing plastic. That should be hopefully not too painful. Though, how much space have we got left on this planet? Let's have a quick look. Because we're using these two essential ones for all our production. Yeah, we got plenty. We're not even halfway. Ooh, we're almost halfway around the planet. Right, let's check our calculator, shall we? With light oil off the menu, that just leaves plastic. Plastic is fairly simple. We only need 50 of them. And if we check over here, 45 of them in a row will saturate will require one full line of refined oil. So all we need to do is make sure it's not longer than 45. And I mean, we only need, what, 50 of them? Yeah, we'll make it 52 or something like that, or 53. We'll just make 3 rows. This incredibly wasteful design is going to be our plastic. It's about 17 rows long. And all of the light oil and the refined... Oh, we forgot the refined carbon. We're going to need a local demand for that. Yeah, bring that in as well. Okay, the reason it's a little bit wasteful is we're producing the light oil here, or the refined oil here, but then we're flying it all the way from over there to over here. We should just turn this around and have the light oil pull up back in here. That would be a lot faster, but no, we're not going to do that. Instead, let me turn this on here now instead of the pipes flowing. Light oil, or refined oil goes down here. Energetic graphite goes down here as well. At the other side comes the plastic. Done. Just let's repeat this all the way along. Refined carbon, light oil, and same again. Oh, damn it, did I do that? Never mind. Okay. Plastic finished. We are one step closer to 1,000 science, though it will kill the power grid here. We're going to have to sort out the power for this place at a later date. I mean, even with everything not running, we're still pulling half a gigawatt and we've only got 2 going. I'm not sure if we're going to... Depending on how much space we have left, we might just cover the whole planet in... Oh, whatchamacallit them? These things. Rave receivers. If we put down enough rave receivers, it might work out. I think it's actually slightly more energy efficient to do it that way than turn them into antimatter. Alright, we'll worry about that later. Let's see what's next on our shopping list. With plastic removed, that leaves us with, I think, carbon nanotubes. That's the last one that should require a chemical plant. Yep. I think we're golden on that front. Alright, let's see what this requires. Looking here, we can fit 40 of them in a row, and they shouldn't max anything out. Perfect. That'll require, though, one full line of graphene. Perfect. And all we need is 66. Simple. This very normal-looking bunch of chemical plants, they're all going to get converted over to producing these carbon nanotubes. However, I thought I'd show off another mod that I got recommended in the comments that seems to be incredibly useful. First thing you do is you just copy as normal using the little less than sign. And then if you hold down Control and press the greater than sign, it brings you up this. This is the paste recipes mod that allows you to just matte paste recipes. So what we're doing here is just changing all of these recipes really quickly. Instead of having to go through each one at a time, boom. All done all the way down to the end. We've just changed all of them over to plastic. This means you don't have to worry so much about messing around with keeping templates and everything everywhere. From now on, you can just copy paste one of these things, chuck it down, and then change the recipes as much as you want really quickly. That I really like. Link in the description if you want to go and have a look at it. Anyway, this we'll just turn on. All we need is local demand. Yeah, for that. Local demand for that. And that should be carbon nanotubes. And I believe that is the last of the chemical plants, thankfully. I just wanted to get them out of the way because they're... Wow. Ooh. Titanium's right beside us. I could literally just run... Oh, no. We're going to stick with this incredibly power-intensive way of doing it because it's hilarious this way. Also, crank that up to max. All right, then. That's that. Let's see what's next on our agenda for today. And another item bites the dust. I'm glad to see that one go. I think we'll go down here and do some of the easier ones that are low-hanging fruit, so to speak. We've got titanium glass and titanium crystal. 2 of those are pretty handy. Oh, actually, do we need organic crystal? I think we'll draw organic crystal, we'll mine it directly. We won't bother producing that at all. We'll use our rare resources for that. Well, it's semi-rare. Let's just say it's common enough in multiple locations. We'll find plenty of it. So I think next up, titanium glass or... Oh, actually, no, there's more titanium crystal. We'll do titanium crystal first. This should be fairly easy. One of the downsides of this, though, is I just checked. I thought I'd be able to squeeze 30 of these in a row. So we just have one production line, 30 in each. We'd have 90, but no. It turns out this odd duck can only fit 26 in a row. If you put down 27 buildings, well, crank it up by 1 there, it will require over 1 belt of titanium to feed it. Why is it? That is weird. Okay, so guess we're making 2 stacks of these. To do this design, it's only going to be 2 in and 1 out, which we've covered yesterday. Well, we covered the last episode. It's quite simple, though. God, we are actually miles away from the nearest one. They should have been a little bit closer. No, that's 1 in, that's 3 in, that's... here we go. In fact, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, there's 15 in this one, so it should just be a case of blueprinting this, and we can take that back with us. In fact, we're going to take everything all the way up to there. Oh, that big green arrow coming out of it, that's the start point. So when you go to paste this, it's going to give it to you from that angle. It's nice to actually know that now. Done. Oop, yeah, it chugs a bit when I put it into the blueprint mode. And then all we go do is go back and find out where I placed that last tower. Yeah, that was the one over there. And we should be able to paste it in. And then once it's pasted in, we just change the recipes. We can bulk paste in the recipes now, so it's really quick. In fact, let's just real time this one. Just this one. Oh wait, I need to line those up perfectly. Done. Then we speed this along. We are going to need titanium in here. What was it we were building? Yeah, titanium crystals. So titanium, and we're also going to need organic crystals wherever I placed it. Oh god, seriously? Yeah, there we are. Perfect. That will be local demand. Oh, we're going to need remote demand from this one as well. Remote demand and local demand. We don't want any of that getting in the way. Fill her up. And we're going to need warpers, so this thing can go and get organic crystal from further away places. Drop that down to 100. Come on. It is a bit finicky getting it down to the last few numbers, though. Local demand, remote storage, and and the final thing, of course, we're going to need to put down titanium crystal, which is remote storage, local supply. Done. Alright, come on, are we almost finished here? I've got this at triple speed, though I suppose you were traveling a little bit of a distance. And... done. All we need to do now is pick one of these, say, you. Cross that out, change that over to titanium crystal, left bracket, control, right greater than bracket, and then poof. Okay, now I just got to put in a few last bits and bobs. Namely, we got to put the 2 inputs. Now, as per my usual, we're doing this with the whole intention of inputs go on the left side, outputs go on the right side. That way I know exactly where we're going, and that's exactly how it's been built to start. One moment. All the transport belt hooked up. I've slowed the speed down to normal speed so I can actually do it without it all jerking all over the place. Oh, and let me check here. I'm pretty sure we require, the organic crystal should go on the outside because we need less of that. Put the titanium on the inside, and same again all the way around. Easy peasy. And that is titanium crystal knocked off the list. That was incredibly fast. Holy Christ. Just a few mods can make this game from, well, I think they made you to be a little bit smaller at the start and maybe it was harder to grind up, but a few mods just make this so that you can really expand as rapidly as you want. It's just glorious. That's all I got to say. Anyway, next on the agenda. I'm thinking next up we'll do titanium glass. It's pretty straightforward to do and we need a lot of them. 56 of them, and they max out. You can put 50 in a line, it turns out, which is pretty long, but we're not going to need quite that many. Alright, we've got to be almost done, right? Feels like we've been building this planet forever. But no, there's a few more things to go, just a couple of minor things. I think now that we've knocked off titanium glass, we'll go and knock out all the motors. We'll get rid of the green motors and the super magnetic rings. Actually, do we even need them? I don't think we need super magnetic rings for this build. Okay, that's kind of nice. Alright, so we'll grab electromagnetic turbines. They can only be stretched out to 20, but we only need 44, so the row's going to end up less than 20 anyway, so one batch of these should be good enough. I got to admit, it's a bit of a sight when they start bringing in all of the resources you need. We may have requested an awful lot right there. Anyway, oh yes, copy, paste, done. God, did I mention how much easier this makes things? Alright, that's electric motors done, or electric turbines, what are they called again? Yeah, electromagnetic turbines done. We got to be close, right? With that off the list, I think we're going to hit on processors next. We'll do processors, then we'll crank out quantum chips. Actually, wait, no, processors first. We need 100 of these, which is just stupid. That's an insane amount. But at the same time, we can only fit 30 in a row. So we can't do just one row. Well, one batch would have 3 rows. We'd be able to max it at 90, so we're going to do 2 batches of this. I think we'll do 17 per row. I went ahead and knocked out the processors. There's 17 in each row. It's pretty much a 2 in, 1 out. Same build as we've been doing for a while. Now, the next one up, though, is going to be a little bit different and a little bit more interesting. What we need to build next is these Casimir crystals, we're going to call them. The thing is, they take 12 hydrogen per operation. This means we can't fit many of them in a row. according to the calculator, we can't even fit 7. If we put 7 of them in a row, we'll be actually drawing slightly more hydrogen than we need. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It'd probably be efficient to make them 7 long. But you're just going to be, that last one's going to be, it's going to turn off every so often. However, we need to build 45 of these. So I'm thinking the simplest thing to do is just make, well, we can't go above 7. So we're going to have to make 3 blocks of this with 5 in each row. So there'll be 15 per block. That'll be 15, 30, 45. Yeah, so damn, for such a tiny build, it's going to require an awful lot of towers and ships. This is going to be a fairly small build, with only 5 long. I've taken the titanium glass, it's the 3 in, 1 out 1, and I just copy-pasted it over. But we should be able to squeeze them in right beside each other. Yeah, this should be grand. Give me 2 seconds here while I hook this up. Before I activate this, I should feel like I should go for maybe a couple of things with it. This one's going to be a bit odd because it requires hydrogen. And the thing is, we want to burn all the local hydrogen on our planet. We don't want it backing up because it would be bad. So what we're going to do is set this to local demand for now, but we're also going to need to do remote demand. There won't be enough hydrogen produced on planet to feed this, and we're going to be making deuterium as well. So we need this to be able to actually go out to gas giants and bring back more resources or more hydrogen. So that's why we have to stick on logistic vessels, and we also have to stick on warpers so that they can go out and get that. It's just one of those things. Anything that requires hydrogen, you want it to hopefully burn the local stuff first and then take the remote stuff afterwards. That's why we've set it up this way, which reminds me that's going to also be remote demand. And this thing is going to burn through hydrogen like nobody's business. I mean, each one of these is going to be consuming, 12 hydrogen per operation? That's insane. I'm going to wait until we've burnt out the local supplies, though, then I'll activate the next one. I think we'll, actually, let's stick down 2 more of these, shall we? It's just so handy being able to do it this way. Right, let's maybe get the towers up first. I like getting the towers up first because they can start charging and the ships can start bringing in the resources to get the whole thing flowing. You can be full of that and that. Oh, I've also found a way to dispose of trash. You can drop things on the ground and then just delete them. Let's see, actually we can get rid of all these thermal power plants. We don't need them anymore. Hold them in your cursor, just hit delete, it drops them on the ground. Then you can pick them back up again using this pick up litter tool, or you can destroy all litter. Boom. I'm going to have to go back to our home base or on our starting planet, and I'm going to have to erase everything that's there. The whole starter base we did, I'm going to get rid of it because it's kind of pointless now and it's just going to take up processing power. Ooh, and how's our Dyson Sphere looking? 23 gigawatts. Excellent. Let's finish these off, get them flowing, and see if we've drained all the hydrogen on the planet. It looks like we have drained all the local hydrogen on the planet. All gone. That's good. It clears out the backlog of stuff we had. Now we're just going to put it to remote demand. Boom. Then we can start pulling that in from remote planets. You can see it there going off to grab them from gas giants, remote demand, and same here. This also prevents any routing loops because this one could theoretically supply hydrogen to the ones around it. And there goes all the ships taking off to go to other planets to grab the stuff we need. Nice. Okay, next up is probably going to be plane filters. These things require Casimir crystals and titanium glass, the 2 things we just finished building loads of. One crazy thing about these plane filters is you can put a lot of them in a row, 120 before you actually saturate a belt. I mean, that's your limiting factor on how long you can make these things. Because it's slow operation, like only when you hit 120 will it max out 1 full belt of titanium glass. That's it. Well, we don't need it that long. We only need, 133, so 45 per row will give us more than enough to fulfill our needs. This here is going to be our plane filter section, and it's reasonably long. When it goes around the curvature of the planet far enough that you can't see the end, you know you've gone pretty big. So I suppose they can get a lot bigger. This is just probably one of the longer ones I've done so far. Okay, but seriously, we got to be close to the end by now, right? In the background, I knocked out a bunch of just random ones. We got rid of particle broadband. What was that? Yeah, the plane filters are done. Basically, all of the normal ones are pretty much out of the way, and we're now up to these suckers. This is the miniature particle colliders. I forgot to bring these on these planets, so I had to go hire some or get some shipped in. Anyway, there's 3 things we need to build, and 2 of them are going to require this. The first one we're going to look at here is deuterium, because we need that to make the strange matter, and the strange matter is required to make the graviton lenses. So this one comes first. We're going to need 83 of these. We're not going to bother with any of that fractionator stuff. We're just going to brute force this, because we can, and it's just simpler to do it that way. The thing is, we can only put 15 of these in a row. They'll consume 1 entire line of hydrogen if we have 15 of them, so it kind of limits us a bit here, because we need 83 of them. So I'm thinking we make 14 per row. It'll make us, you know what, 14 per row, 2 stacks of them, and we should be good to go. Before I get stuck in on this though, I probably should point out there's ways around this. You could make this more efficient. We could squeeze them in by giving 2 of them the same return line. Instead of just having this one pull from this side, spit out the other at all 3 of them, we could have, say, these 2 spit into the middle and remove one of these lines and save more space. But just not worth the effort, to be honest. All the time and effort and maybe saving yourself a line or 2, I'm just not bothered, considering you can just brute force it. And with this new blueprint tool, just, yeah, we could make stacks of these for days. This deuterium stuff, or deuterium, it takes up a lot of space. In fact, if you look over there, that's where we started producing on the equator. We've literally gone the entire way around the planet with constructions. All the way around. The planet is just covered, and where we know we're not quite there. We go, we're back at the beginning again. In fact, I had to place some of the deuterium production over here because it wouldn't fit around the equator, and then I tucked in straight to the strange matter. And strange matter is, well, it's an annoying one. The problem being it's 3 in, 1 out, so you have to have three belts to feed it and then 1 belt out, and it eats a lot, and I mean a lot of deuterium. What was it here? Yeah, 10 deuterium for the other 2, so you don't really need the other 2 that much. But I tried to experiment around in some way to squeeze 3 of these in between our little build area here. Would not work no matter what I tried. So we're stuck with 2 wide, meaning it took up a lot of space. In fact, it took it all the way up to here. I even had to go back and squeeze some in some of the mining columns that were still free. But finally we have deuterium and strange matter done. That means we have 1 thing left to do before we get on to science. Oh, actually 2. We're going to need a whole bunch more power. A whole bunch more power. When this thing activates, that thing's going to hit 8, 10 gigawatts or something. I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. So, ticking off strange matter. Beautiful. All we have to do is produce the gravitational lenses. And that will get us all the basic sciences except white. White will require antimatter. That will be our final thing to do. But for now, gravitational lenses. This should be pretty handy. There it is. The final basic component for sciences. We still need to get the antimatter for the white sciences, but dear lord, that's good to feel complete. And it's just shy of the start. This is where we started doing all of our construction. So it's nice. We've gotten all the way back around to the beginning. I think what we'll do is we'll do the last... Oh, we're going to have to do the antimatter somewhere at the top of the planet, I think. I was going to use gravitational lenses until I realized I never accounted for that in this build, and I'm not going to pull in gravitational lenses from off planet. That would confuse things. So we're just going to go with, well, a bunch of solar collectors. That's it. We're just going to use a bunch of them and harvest the necessary photons that way. I think we'll probably do... Actually, we'll do it this end. This end has more space to it still. Though it's looking kind of dark up there. Checking the top of the planet up here. Maybe turn on the lights for a bit. We can see that these are all still maxed out at 12.5. So they seem to be pretty much constantly in the sunlight. So we're going to come down here and we're going to set one of these to photon generation and see what it maxes out at. I think it maxes out at about 10, I want to say. You know what? We'll find out. We'll just let that run for a while, and once it's maxed out of continuous receiving, we'll see what we're getting out of it, and then we're going to have to work out how many we need. We need about 1,000 antimatter per minute, so we might have to use a lot of these. Hold on while I start ringing this place in. Lots more array receivers. So, what we did here was we determined that if you switch these to photon generation, they generate 5 per minute if they've got continuous receiving. It goes up the longer they're in range of the Dyson Sphere. However, since we are not using these gravitational lenses to keep them 100% uptime and double their output, we would need 200, assuming all of them had 100% uptime, which they're not going to have. So instead, we stuck down, instead of 200, we put down 335. So there, that way when some of them are offline, the others can pick up the slack. Also, it has the really cool side effect of making the top of the planet look awesome, which I'm kind of for. Okay, now we need to take this. It should generate about 1,000 photons per minute. We need to take all of that and we need to turn some of that into antimatter so we can start the last phase of science. Whew, okay, so we'll stick this in here. I think it's nice and close by, and I already had this tower built. I don't know why, but it's there. And so antimatter production begins. Now there is a bit of a backlog of photons, so if we check over here, you'll notice... Yeah, they're still pouring down. We have a whole bunch that are still backed up. So I don't actually know if we're producing enough yet. We're only up to 293. We need to be producing 1,000 per minute, but it's only drawing from the first 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and the first 4 lines are the smallest. They get bigger the further you go down because, you know, it's circular. But if there's not enough, we can just throw down more. Literally hundreds more if necessary. I don't care. However, this means it's time to start producing the actual science itself. Let's find a nice flat open space to do that in. To put these sciences together, we're still going to use interstellar logistic stations. I probably should just use the smaller towers. the planetary ones, because we don't really need these. These are just going to take up space. But I don't have them on this planet, and I'm not bothered bringing them in. So we're just going to stick with consistency. This here is for the blues. There's more than we need. I think each stack of those is 15, so I think we only need 50, but we've got 40, 60 or something like that. But close enough. Next up, we're going to need 100 of these red science buildings. That's going to take up a little space. I'm thinking right here. Right here is perfect. The red science, yeah, that actually does take up a fair chunk of space. You can stack these buildings to 15 high, but even with all of that, we're going to need a fair chunk of space to churn out most of the science. That's a lot of science. Is that one missing one? Those ones at the end are missing a couple across the top. What's going on there? One moment. Never mind. They're all perfectly even now. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. We just need to run all of these into 250 other science towers to make the white science. I'm going to use this as a test bed. I realized I may not have tested this with the inserters maxed out on research, so we'll give it a go. If we can't stack these up to 15, or if they just can't pull in the resources fast enough, then, well, we'll just have to make it longer and use shorter stacks. Alright, let me just plug in all of these. This is just going to be a very basic, straightforward, brute force and ignorance way of plugging them all in. We're not going to try anything fancy, no moving around with towers. We're just going to plug them in with some good old-fashioned transport belt. This is the most straightforward of setups. We've got all 3 sciences on each side. Well, 5 sciences, 3 on one side, 2 on the other, and then the antimatter's coming in here. They all feed into this to create the white science. And then when the white science is complete, it gets spit out here and pulled along this belt. I thought this would be more convenient this way. I was going to actually pipe it. Never mind. Then that all flows down here. And then I think we'll just turn it right around and have it feed into another bunch of labs going the opposite direction to get consumed. Though, actually, should we continue it on, or should we... You know what? Let's just dump in the labs along here. Why not? And done. Oh my god, it feels good to get that at least started. We're definitely going to redline our power. Yeah, we've already redlined the power, but I'm still going to stack this whole thing at labs. How many labs do we need for this? We probably don't have enough in our inventory, but I'm going to stack this whole place along here. 15 labs, top to bottom. That at least will get us started. Go. All I want to do now is put down just oodles and oodles of power. Once we get the power down, we'll actually know how well this worked out. I mean, we did an awful lot of production, but we haven't done any testing on any of this. This is, probably... You couldn't get away with this sort of thing in Factorio, let's just say. Strings of power coming up. For power, we're going to be very simple like this. We're going to grab a whole bunch of... Hey, where are you? Yeah, these things. Ray receivers. And we're going to put down oodles of them all around the planet. Anywhere where there's spare space, we'll just throw down a bunch of ray receivers. I would say we have definitively solved our power problem. We now have a generation capacity of 5.6 gigawatts. Thank you, Dyson Sphere. Our Dyson Sphere is looking good. 28.2 gigawatts of power. Perfect. And it's not even close to finished. I've added on a few extra teeth around the top just to give us more generation power, but I haven't actually even started filling them in. We're going to have to start filling them in with sails, though I'm not sure if I want to. We've been advised that sails definitely slow down the game and increase save size, and I think I'm already over 100 megs already, so we'll see. But to generate the power, we just cover the entire top of the planet, or is this the bottom? You know what, we'll call this whatever. This part of the planet is now just entirely covered in solar collectors. Which, yes, that works. In fact, the other side of the planet doesn't even look as big anymore. This is actually the smaller end where we're generating the photons. And our science production is looking pretty damn epic. Alright, let's actually check the numbers on our science production. No, let's go over and have a quick look first. It's looking so colourful at this time of night. Right, beautiful as it is. Let's just go into the stats. This is for the last 10 minutes. It looks like it's about 800. Now red, there was a bit of a bottleneck on red. And by a bit of a bottleneck, I mean... I forgot to hook up this output line and only half of it was being processed. So all the rest of them backed up and it was only producing at half speed, so whatever. But now that backlog has been cleared, it's slowly starting to catch up and we're producing, in the last minute we produced 1,000 science of pretty much everything. Oh, critical photons are not maxing out just yet. One moment. Oh, I see what's going on here. If you look at critical photons here, we're only producing 829. We need to be producing 1,000 of those to keep up with consumption. Well, 1,080, but 1,000 will get us 1,000 science. But we're only producing 816 or so. But if you'll notice here, this line is not moving, and all of these ones here, they're just not producing, they're all backed up. So once that line clears, we should max out at 1,000 photons. Oh, damn, what time is it? Yeah, I'm running out of time. I got to get this out in like, what, an hour and a half? This has to be uploaded, so I got to edit it, do all sorts of stuff. All right, I'll run it for 10 minutes, and we'll run it on max speed for, 10 minutes. And we'll see if we can get at least this 10-minute graph to read 1,000 signs per minute. We're so close. 10 minutes later, and no bother for a drum roll. Yes, we fit 1,000 signs per minute. Photons still haven't cleared though. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. We might need another row of those, but this looks like it worked. I mean, maybe we've got some bottlenecks further back that we haven't gotten around to yet, but I think we actually managed to just build an entire thing from a recipe, get it all the way up, and done. 1,000 signs per minute. Of course, it has changed the planet irrevocably. It looks like two episodes ago, this was an empty planet. This was, I think it had a few towers at the top to build in the resources, and now it just looks like it has a web of moving ships everywhere around it. Damn, this game is pretty. Let me have one last look at power before... yeah, I forgot it's on triple speed. Yep, power is actually holding up quite well. We should be fine on this. I think we did it. 1,000 signs per minute. Let's crank out a whole bunch of mineral research so we can improve our mining capacity. We got one more thing to do before we tackle Big Blue. Before we make that giant Dyson Sphere, what we've got to do is, that inner planet, we've got to turn that into producing antimatter. I want to make lots of antimatter there, antimatter fuel rods. Just tons of them. I don't ever want to have to put down this many ray receivers ever again. We're going to cover that inner planet in ray receivers. We're going to use that to make all our antimatter fuel, and we're going to use that to fuel the rest of the bases we put down around the place. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck.